Hi, this is Ken and Michelle Bass.
And you're listening to the Resilient Parenting Podcast. Hello, welcome back.
Thank you.
We're so excited
Good to be back.
Be joining you in your car. Ken would say that you're lucky that I'm on here because I'm kind of a backseat driver. Would you say that, Ken?
No.
While I'm looking at you intently?
Not at all.
I just tell you to be
You never sit in the back seat.
This is true. Sometimes you probably wish I did. No, you're mostly a good driver.
Mostly. But that's a whole nother episode of a podcast to go to, maybe.
Ooh, that sounds like an interesting and relatable one.
Yeah.
But for now, why don't we finish the last of our 6-part series?
Mm-hmm. The last of the 6-part series is dealing with.
Dealing with. It sounds like it's a negative.
No, okay, maybe not dealing with.
The joys of 5-year-olds.
Finding out more about. Yeah.
It's coming up. Hello, we are joined by Kim Hemmert, the grants manager with the Idaho Children's Trust Fund, also an early childhood educator and fellow social worker. We have been working together, the three of us, for 6 weeks
Yeah,
now.
we can always count on Kim. How much longer can we count on you? Is this the last number?
This is the last in the series
Oh my
for
gosh.
this series.
For this series, we will have
It's been
more.
a mini-series. Okay.
It's kind of nice because we're going to be ending season 1. And then so next year for season 2, we should think of another series that we can do. So if you have any suggestions, definitely let our podcast know.
Any guest stars that we know about?
Any guest stars?
Yeah.
Oh,
Cameo
you'll have to-
appearances?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah. Bring on the celebs.
Well, we have Ken Bass.
No, she said celebs.
Local celeb.
Oh, well.
Okay, local I'll go with.
I'll just say you'll have to wait till next year. You'll have to wait till season 2. So right now we have our own celeb. We have Kim in the house. Actually, we're in her house. Not literally. We're at
The Alexander House.
We're at the Alexander House. And so we have talked about infancy. We've talked about...
Wonderful ones.
And then...
Terrific twos. Three-nagers. Four-nados.
And we're ready to find out what 5 nickname you have.
We are Thrive at 5.
Thrive at 5.
We made it.
We made it.
We're 5 drivers. Okay.
We are 5 and Thrive.
Okay.
All right, let's learn about 5-year-olds.
All right. 5-year-olds have developed a lot of confidence at this point. We've talked about that through the years. Each stage of development, they learn some of their new confidence. And in this stage in particular, they like to show off their new skills. And some of their new skills are fine motor skills. So if they've learned to zip zippers or button buttons or snap snaps, or if they're starting to tie their shoes. My child at this age had tied like 18 knots in her shoelace
Wow.
all the way and was like, look, Mom, I tied my shoe. And I was like, yeah, you absolutely did.
She was practicing.
She was so excited that she had tied her complete shoelace into knots. But it's a way to praise and reinforce those, those behaviors. And she's really excited that she learned a new skill and she's showing it off. So
Very good.
As a caregiver, praise those new skills as they present themselves. Your kiddos at 5 are so excited because they really have developed a sense of, man, I am like killing it at this living thing, I'm just crushing it. Or what do the kids say these days? I'm cooking.
Oh, that's new. We should write that down, Ken, so we're cool.
These kids these days, they're cooking.
They're cooking. Cooking.
They're cooking. They're cooking. Cook me up something there.
Maybe that's
Why
a
did you
middle
lose
school
your
thing.
teeth?
Speaking of, oral hygiene is still really important
Nice
at
See
this
what I did there? Okay, you're welcome.
I think I did it. We did it together,
Okay,
Ken.
Look at you.
We're something.
We talked last time about the 3-sided toothbrush.
Oh, right.
And hopefully, you're able to get some resources there, some tips, and get connected with a dentist if you haven't. So
okay.
please, find out what your kids need. Some kids really like an electric toothbrush. So that's a great way. Some kids don't. Like, that's too stimulating for them. Some kids might need the 3-sided toothbrush. So oral health is important. We want to be able to have good oral hygiene.
At what age should you teach kids how to floss? Because the dentist has said that a lot about our kids. You need to start flossing. We're like, can they do it yet?
Probably not without help.
Our kid is 17.
Ken, are you still helping your kid floss?
No.
my goodness.
I'm talking overall, okay?
I was like, wait, what?
Not every adult flosses either, but dentists are pointing this out. Please, you do need to floss.
Yes.
It's going to help protect your
When
teeth.
should they floss? Do you know?
Thanks for getting back to the original subject.
I'm not a dentist, so I don't know that I have a clear indicator for that. However,
Yes.
they do have like the floss sticks that just have
Yes.
like the little bit of floss on it. And those would probably be easier for kiddos to use at this age.
Yes. I think I use those as well.
Yeah. So if any dentist wants to weigh in on when kids should be flossing, I would say more than likely now.
I think a couple of our kids use those floss sticks.
Yeah. I have a question. So for families that maybe don't have a dentist, are there resources that you know of that you can share right now, or we can look it up and put it in the show notes of either lower cost or free dental care?
Yeah, I think it depends on where you're located around the state. And there's different resources that are available that we can include into the show notes.
Okay.
Yeah, 'cause
For sure.
We got
Sometimes the
you.
schools, sometimes the elementary schools will have
right.
the mobile dentist coming
If
by.
they're in the school.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, depending on where you are, you could have the mobile dentist, or you could have like fluoride treatment, like hygienists come. Sometimes there's community events where they'll have those things available as well.
Okay, so just look in your area and prioritize oral health.
Yeah, and if you have questions, by all means, please reach out and we can help you get connected with resources.
I'm curious. I know you have, lots of things to talk about with the 5s, but it seems to me like their vocabulary is through the roof.
They do talk a lot. And part of what they're trying to talk about is their negotiating skills with their peers. So yeah, they have an extensive vocabulary, and now they're learning how to be able to negotiate play, interactive play, cooperative play. And you have to use those language skills. So kiddos that are either more shy or that maybe have some language delays, that may be a harder piece to engage with peers if you don't have those language skills developed.
Gotcha. What about like understanding nonverbal communication?
That is really important. And I think that goes back to the empathy piece of like, what is the behavior that I'm seeing? And then how can I, how am I interpreting that?
Right.
If a kid is shy, does that mean they're sad? Does that mean they're mad? Does that mean they're scared? What does that mean as far as nonverbal cues? And putting that language to what that behavior is.
Right.
So, and asking questions, ask them questions, get them to talk to you more. Sometimes parents want their kids to be quiet, and sometimes it's good to lean into that a little bit more and have them share more.
Right.
Like, let's talk about it.
Right.
Cognitively, 5-year-olds are able to do some more of the simple chores around the house. This gives them a sense of belonging and purpose, and that sense of like, I am part of something bigger than myself, and giving them responsibility. You're helping them to learn how to follow through. So your job is to take the trash out, or your job is every Monday you're going to sweep the floor. Now, keep in mind that they're going to sweep the floor like a 5-year-old, and it might not be to the highest quality, but you're being consistent. You're following through. You're helping them to develop that sense of responsibility that they're part of something bigger than themselves.
Yeah.
Michelle's still
definitely.
working with me on that. So,
What's your weekly chore, Ken?
Oh, there's so many.
Well, he's retired now, so he's home more. So he
has more responsibility.
he's taken on more
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Not by me asking, but
No,
he likes to stay busy.
Yeah.
But you bring up a good point, because I think our expectations need to fit the age and even, expectations of others in the house, even if they're, other adults, to not be critical, I guess, is what I'm thinking. It's if someone's doing it, let them do it. Make sure that they, 5-year-old understands what they're doing, how to do it, or maybe like 2 tasks at a time.
Right.
Like cleaning your room or something. Or,
Yeah. And it having a 5-year-old do chores is going to take longer than it would
Yes.
than an adult. So the trade-off is being patient as the caregiver to know that I'm helping to develop the soft skills that they know how to sequence the events and that they can follow through, stay on task, stay focused, feel that sense of accomplishment, and not just do it for them because I need it done quicker or I could do it better.
Right. Or redo it after they've done it. Don't do
Right.
that.
Yeah.
You could kind of wait till they leave the room and redo it, couldn't you?
That's what Ken does. That's what I was looking at him. Don't redo something that someone's already done, Ken.
I was
I'm
watching
sorry
the-
I did that to you.
He does it when I could making the bed. He comes in afterwards and fixes it every morning.
I
We're revealing way too much about ourselves in this.
So you're developing those really good 5-year-old skills.
I should let her learn them on her own. Okay, I
It was
get it
good
now.
enough for me. It was my side of the bed.
Also, I would say, so from my own experience, just recently, I was washing some dishes with a 5-year-old, and I was able to take direction from her. So she's like, "Okay, hold this spoon." And so I'm going to hold the spoon and she's scrubbing it. And then, we'll rinse it off. And then I gave it back to her like, "Hey, now put it in the dishwasher." And she just like flopped it in and it's just going everywhere. And it's an opportunity then for parents and caregivers to redirect that, no, that's not where it goes. This is where it needs to be, in the dishwasher. So again, helping them to know that you don't have to go in behind them and clean everything up, but to help them do it correctly the first time.
Right.
Oh, okay.
And we need to talk about what correctly is.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I'm just saying.
Again, clear expectations. We're building those language
Everybody's
skills,
opinion of correctness.
communication.
I'm going to put a line through the bed and say, this is my side. This is your side. I can do whatever I want on my side.
It may be beneficial to have separate blankets.
But enough about dishes.
Okay.
Sometimes families like to have like a chore chart, a simple chore chart, and just helping to know, here's the days of the week, here's what your responsibilities are, so that they have something to look forward to also.
Okay.
The other part of the chore chart is to help extend what their capabilities are. So you might not think that, maybe they've been sweeping the floor and you're thinking, well, they can't mop. That's going to be a huge mess and too much time. But helping to scaffold and extend that of like, now we're going to introduce mopping and we're going to help to develop this skill. During this stage of development, I had introduced safe knife skills with my kids so that they could help prepare dinner. So here's the cucumber. Here's a knife that I'm going to trust you with. Here's the expectation for how to use the knife. Here's what I want you to do with this cucumber. And then they're part of dinner prep.
At 5. Wow. I don't even let Ken have a knife.
Again, we're still developing these 5-year-old skills. Helping kids to extend what they're capable of gives them the confidence. And also, like, I don't want my kids to feel like knives are dangerous and knives are scary. If they know how to use it correctly, then it's
Right.
just a tool.
Right.
Where I'm showing you how to use a tool correctly.
Gotcha.
Right. Okay.
Gotcha.
Okay.
I like how you mentioned before, like not being critical of what they're capable of doing. At this stage in 5, they really are so sensitive to that criticism and they have that fear of failure. They want your praise and they want you to be happy for them and be happy with them. And so I would caution parents and caregivers to celebrate those victories and be soft with corrective criticism or corrective feedback, because they're so sensitive at this age to wanting your approval and wanting that love and knowing that they're going to be supported by their parents and caregivers around them.
That's true for much older ages too.
Yes.
So,
Sure, but
I had to
we're
be really
developing
careful.
it here.
Oh.
Yes.
This is the part.
And it reminds me of an episode that we did. It was praise versus encouragement, and it was encouraging the effort and not necessarily the final product. So, and very specific to what they were doing, or I could see you worked really hard on that. Thank you for helping me, or something very specific, but not like good job.
Right.
Or
it's too
You're
generic.
the best. You're the best. The best
Right.
mopper
You're such
in the
a good
whole
girl.
You're
like,
such a good girl.
well, what did I do? Like, where's the effort in that?
Right.
You're absolutely right though. Like praising the effort of it. So if your kiddo's sweeping the floor, like, wow, you did a lot of effort sweeping the floor, and there's still opportunity to redirect of like, and we're going to go back and sweep out these corners a little bit more, or, oh, it looks like we missed a few areas, so
Right.
that we can still get the desired result.
Right.
Especially when it comes to chores, but we're still helping them to feel proud of their accomplishment in their effort.
Right. Definitely.
As 5-year-olds continue to develop cognitively, they're developing more of that empathy and being able to then see things from other people's viewpoint and perspective. And this is a great opportunity for parents and caregivers to use that through stories and through play of, if you're reading a story, helping to ask questions of, what do you see is happening in this picture, and let the kids then work through that of what do you think they're thinking? What do you think they are feeling? So that they're putting themselves in somebody else's viewpoint and somebody else's perspective.
I see.
okay.
What about diversity? Like, because I think for the first few years, they're mostly, they might be in daycare or preschool, but really their main people are their family, and the majority of them are, look like them. So what do you think about like giving opportunities for that, or finding books or other things that have people in them that look different than them or have different lifestyles or stories?
The library is a great resource. Again,
Here we go, back to the library.
to look at some of those things. So the library is a really great resource to be able to explore some of those differences, especially with kiddos that have experienced adversity or trauma, and or specifically kiddos that have experienced foster care or have different family makeups, whether you live with grandma or whether you have been adopted or whether you live in a multi-generational home, that could look different than what your circumstance is. So this is a great age and opportunity for parents and caregivers to help kids see what the differences are and to celebrate the differences as strengths and not as they're different and that's bad. But look at how we're similar, look at how we're different, and just being able to see the joy and positive aspects of the differences.
And the empathy works its way into that.
The empathy is woven into all of those conversations.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right.
Any other areas we need to know about for 5-year-olds?
Yes. So social emotional, this is where you're going to see more frustration. Again, kids want that attention for their accomplishments, and they're going to experience some more frustration when it comes to things didn't go how they planned. So they have more cognitive processes for being able to sequence events, and they have an idea of, okay, we're going to play out this game, even if it's just pretend play. And if it doesn't go how they had planned out in their mind, that can elicit some frustration.
So like playing Candyland and then they don't win.
And they don't win.
Yeah.
That can be really disappointing.
I know. Tell me.
I'll let you win next time.
No, we don't let him win.
Okay. Tell us and the parents listening what we should do.
Well, we work through some of that frustration and be able to help co-regulate together through those big emotions.
Okay.
We're going to see those big emotions, and we know that especially in gameplay, there's only one winner. So that means everybody else isn't going to win. And that might be sad or disappointing or frustrating, but that doesn't diminish our worth and value as a human. And that's what we want to be able to emphasize. Like, they won the game and you're still a worthy human.
Right.
So flipping over the game board when you lose is not good. You don't do that? No.
You're cut off from games.
Oh.
It's just more practice with emotional regulation when we
work
don't
on
lose.
it.
Because even as adults, it's not fun to lose. Nobody goes into
no.
playing a game of like thinking, man, I can't wait to lose this game.
Yeah. Sometimes I go in knowing I'm going to lose, so I just have fun.
Right.
And then if I win, I'm surprised.
Right.
So
But
is
yeah.
everybody.
Yeah.
Oh.
Kidding.
Wow. It's okay. I get you all the time.
It's
So.
true.
Just think of it as an opportunity to connect. I like the phrase connect before you correct. And, you know, games are a great way to do that, to practice turn taking, to practice those negotiating skills, to practice sequencing of events. I've played Monopoly with my kids, and that requires a lot of strategy.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And that's hard. It's still hard. And, you know, I don't know that I'm going to win ever. But it practices all those skills, and we're creating that positive childhood memory for those kids.
Right, right. It's about connection.
It's
not
about
loot.
connection.
It's about buying Boardwalk.
Oh, wait.
That is what my child thinks. It's all about the blue properties, dark blue properties.
She compared you to her child. You heard that, right?
Somehow I'm not offended.
The theme of this episode is Ken is 5. Okay.
That means you're thriving.
We need
You are thriving.
Oh, okay.
Yes. At 5, this is a really good, another really good opportunity for parents to reinforce what those family beliefs and family values are. So if you really want to have those connections, then like demonstrate that in the way that you engage and interact with your kiddos. If mealtime is important, then make that a routine, make that a tradition, make that something special so that like, hey, we eat together as a family around the table. We do this every time, you know, whatever those specific family beliefs and family values are, that this is when they're going to start to remember that consistency of it.
And when they're older, they will come back and say, what was that recipe? What was something we did? And then when you remind them, they're like, oh, right.
Yeah.
Because they want to do it now.
Yes. I think in an earlier episode, I had mentioned making muffins with my kids, and we still
the
make
cranberry pineapple?
the carrot pineapple.
Carrot
Yep.
pineapple. that's
Okay, you know
Carrot
what? We are
pineapple
on our
muffins.
last episode, and we still do not have that recipe.
I will still make you carrot pineapple muffins.
right. Thank you.
Yes, they are the best. And my kids still look forward to being able to make that recipe together regularly. And we have definitely gone through phases where it's been really messy, and it has tested my patience to now we've done it so much that they're better at it, and we've been able to enjoy the process more.
Yeah.
So
It's all part of the journey and the experience.
And just give yourself grace that you are doing better than you think you are. And consistency and routine is what kids thrive on. This is what thriving is all about, is that predictability, that consistency, that routine, knowing that they are surrounded with safe, stable, nurturing caregivers around them.
Right.
For them to be able to then engage in the next phase of their life when they enter school.
Right.
Okay.
Wow.
Thriving fiving.
Thrive at 5.
Okay.
Thriving fiving.
5
like
and
that too.
thrive.
All right.
Well, thank you so much for your time. This has been really helpful, and I can't wait for us to meet with you soon.
Thank you for having me.
This podcast is brought to you by the Idaho Children's Trust Fund.